Hi, how's it going? So today I have a cottagecore inspired book video. So as an adult, I really like to read a lot of middle grade and picture books, and I noticed that some of the latest books I've been reading, I didn't even realize, but a lot of people were tagging them with like online or even like on Goodreads with like cottagecore. And it sounds like, to me, I was like, well, what is cottagecore? Besides being like all about like slow living, kind of like cottagey, pretty much the main person everybody describes as like the definition of cottagecore would be like Beatrix Potter. It is kind of an aesthetic also with like a lot of cool colors. You won't see me in a bonnet running around a prairie, but in my reading life, I really am drawn to like sweet, like animals, talking animals, and like cottagey, like cozy stories. Aesthetically, I think they're beautiful to look at. But yeah, so this is all about like books that I own in my collection or checked out from the library, a few that are cottagecore. And so to me, I'm also kind of mixing like animals in with that. I don't necessarily think that animals belongs in like, from what I read, but mainly it's like slow living, like focus on like crafts and just like spending time in your garden or like having a garden or just like flowers and like animals. And yeah, this is Beatrix Potter, The Complete Tales. I was so excited about this. I actually checked it out from the library, and it's so cool actually. So my husband actually ordered this for me on eBay because it's out of print, I believe. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think you can possibly get like used copies on Amazon, but I did get this copy on eBay. It has a cute little box out cover. So I will link it on Amazon and then you guys can look, but I definitely think you have to buy it used, which is cool with me. So this is definitely a used copy, and this is Beatrix Potter, The Complete Tales. So I started reading it. I got about halfway through and I was really enjoying this as like an adult. I remember reading this with my daughter when she was really young, and then I kind of forgot about it. And then I never really read a lot of more of her work though. I was mainly familiar with like Peter Rabbit. Let's see. So this is all the tales and then other works. So Beatrix Potter, she was born in London in 1866, grew up living the conventional sheltered life of a Victorian girl in a well-to-do household. Her father leased a country house in the summer for 3 months, at first in Scotland, later in the Lake District. On these holidays, Beatrix and her brother were able to explore the countryside and learn about plants and animals from their own observation. She began being a storyteller and an illustrator with The Tale of Peter Rabbit, published in 1902. So yeah, I really love her illustrations. They're like the definition of cottagecore, right? Like little cute animals. Look at this, like just the colors. Look at the little cat. Look at that. So very cute, sweet stories. And I am enjoying reading it as an adult. This dog looks like my dog. This is, I think, Duchess. Yeah, I have a black Chihuahua. She's kind of a long-haired Chihuahua-ish. I think she's probably a mix, but she reminds me of this Duchess reminds me of my dog. So I'm really loving this. Look how pretty. Tom Kitten, look at this. So personally, like in my home decor, I'm not like a cottagecore person. Whereas I can look at other people's homes like online or in photos and say, wow, that's beautiful. Like they have like the cottagecore aesthetic. It's not me. I'm way more of like a minimalist, but you don't have to have the style to like cottagecore books, of course. So that was my main inspiration for this video, and just has been kind of like what I've been reading lately. You know, a lot of like, I don't know which way it's intended to go, but I'm just gonna put it like this. Just like sweet animal stories. So yes, this is my favorite new book. And then to go with that theme of Beatrix Potter, I've checked out this picture book from the library. This is Saving the Countryside, the story of Beatrix Potter and Peter Rabbit. So I'm just going to quickly flip through this, but this is just like a nice picture book biography of her life. if you really are a Beatrix Potter fan. So Beatrix turned her attention to protecting the natural world, a world that she and Peter Rabbit loved. So she bought another farm and another and another. She bought cottages and gardens, farms and forests to save the countryside that inspired her books. She bought as much land as she could. So it talks about her buying land to conserve it. I didn't really look that part of her life up, but it talks about it in this book. So this I haven't watched yet, but I checked it out. I'm going to watch it soon. This is Miss Potter, and this is based, again, on her life. So I'm interested to see this and see if, like, the setting, of course, is going to be hopefully very, like, you know how some movies are done really, really, really well and authentic, and then some aren't. So I'm hoping this will be authentic to seemingly like her illustrations and the life that she lived. So I can't wait to watch it, but I'm thinking if you like Beatrix Potter, you could check this out. Okay, so the next very, very, very cottagecore book, I actually just finished this book this month, and this is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. So I really love this copy. I got it from Barnes & Noble. It's an illustrated copy of The Secret Garden. I loved this book. So they have some color illustrations in this version. I really love the writing. I went on, well, first I read A Little Princess, then I read A Secret Garden. And this is very cottagecore, all about gardening and like bringing our garden back to life, sort of. And when orphan Mary Lennox comes to live at her uncle's great house on the Yorkshire moors, she finds it full of secrets. At night, she hears the sound of crying down one of the corridors. Outside, she meets Dickon, a magical boy who can talk to animals. Then one day, she discovers the most mysterious wonder of all, a secret garden, walled and locked, which has been forgotten for years and years. Beautiful story. I highly, highly recommend it. And this cover is very cottagecore. The story is very cottagecore. It's just beautiful. Beautifully written and everything else. Okay, so for the movie for that, I've been struggling with, okay, so the only movie I found that had to do with A Secret Garden that was available on the streaming services I have was like I think it was made in like 2020. I wasn't a fan of it. I got like halfway through it and I feel like they changed way too much of just even where the Secret Garden like was located, and like I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't find it as beautiful as it could have been. And then there's like a 90s version. I think it was made 1993. Now, I requested that one from my library, so I can't comment on it. I hear that the 90s one is really good. But yeah, so there is a movie to go with that if you have read it or are interested. And then this is Heidi. So I'm actually reading this book right now by Johanna, I think it's Spiri, I'm not sure. So let me read the back. She drank in the golden sunlight, the fresh air, the delicate fragrance of the flowers, and desired nothing more than to remain there forever. A good while passed in this way, and Heidi had gazed so often and so long at the lofty mountaintops that it seemed as if they all had faces and were gazing down quite familiarly at her like good friends. So this one is like based like in the mountains, not really like woodsy cottagecore, but I don't know. Like it's always like on those lists for, it has like a lot of nature in it, like mountain goats, wildflowers. It's based on Heidi, who is an orphan, and it's the Swiss Alps. So it's kind of a different setting, yet it was recommended to me when I was looking for books similar to like The Secret Garden. The illustrations in this book are much more modern. They're black and white also. The illustrations are definitely not cottagecore, but I wanted to give this book a try, and I wanted to just include in this video because it seems to be a lot about nature, and I think it could probably fit in that category. So this maybe not as literal as the other ones. So hopefully I'm not too wrong, but yeah, like I just started reading it, and we will see. But I think the cover is really pretty. Okay, so another this is with no doubt very cottagecore. This is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. And my daughter and I read this together years ago, and then I actually been planning to reread it. Maybe this year I'll get to it. I want to reread it on my own. But this is all about another book about an orphan. Did I say also The Secret Garden? She's also an orphan. Wow, 3 orphans. Okay. And looking forward to things is half the pleasure of them. So this is also like very much cottagecore. Not only is the cover beautiful, but like the actual story is like slow living. I mean, it isn't based in modern times, of course, but it's just all about like Anne. She loves beautiful things. She loves flowers. She loves nature. And it's all about her life going to live with Marilla and Matthew, who will be adopting her. And if you watch this series, I think they really did a good job with it. The Anne with an E series that was on Netflix. I'm hoping it. I don't have Netflix at this moment, but it was on Netflix. Hopefully it still is. But I think there also are movies or other adaptations, but I haven't seen those. But Anne with an E is beautiful. Like just Marilla's house. Oh my gosh, it's just so beautiful. It's like so, like everything is so functional and so simple, yet just so beautiful. And it was a really good series. I watched it from beginning to end. But yeah, so Anne is like an orphan that goes to live with a new family. And it's all about her life adapting to them and them adapting to her. And it's just a really beautiful story. And I want to continue reading the series because I haven't read the rest of it. So yeah, Anne with an E and Anne of Green Gables. Now a series that is very, in my opinion, woodsy, cottagecore. So this is like, instead of a cottage, it's like a little tree house in the woods, in the forest. This is a Heartwood Hotel series. This is also an orphan, the orphan is a mouse. And it's all about her experiences working at the Heartwood Hotel. And I believe it's based on different seasons. Yeah. Fall, winter, spring, and then summer. So I read all 4 of them, even though I'm an adult. They're chapter books, and I really love these. These are, to me, part of why I made this video, because I love little woodsy creatures that can talk. I love animals that can talk. I love sweet little animal stories. Little animals that live in a tree. This is like, to me, a modern definition of cottagecore, like Beatrix Potter, yet chapter book style, and all these little cute friendships that develop between these animals and the life of Mona searching for a new family / connections because she's an orphan. And it's a very sweet series. I would actually say the first one and the 4th one are my favorite, but definitely read all 4 because they connect together. And I hope she comes out with more. I know since it's seasons, there's usually like 4, so maybe she won't, but I'm hoping she will. And sorry, I even forgot to say the author is Callie George. And the illustrator is Stephanie Gragan. I'm not sure how to say it. But I love these, and these are very cottagecore. Little woodland animals speaking to each other. Okay, so the adult version of the Heartwood Hotel is Shady Hollow series. So these are very, very much for adults. But look at even the cover. Very cottagecore. This is book 1, book 2, and book 3. So I'm actually about to start reading this one now, but I read book 1 and 2. I believe that they have a 4th one, if not more. But I haven't looked yet, you guys. These are so awesome. So these were very much described as like Gilmore Girl town. Oh yeah, I want to also say like a series you might like. I think it's kind of cottagecore, even though like they definitely don't live in a cottage or anything like that. But Gilmore Girls is kind of like that cozy feeling you get in some of the episodes. Well, a lot of them. So, but yeah, this was kind of described as like a cozy, charming, like Gilmore Girls town-ish series. Okay, so it's like reporter Vera Vixen has a nose for the news. So when she catches the wind that the death might be a murder, she resolves to get to the bottom of the case no matter where it leads. As the fox stirs up still waters, she exposes more than one mystery and discovers that additional lives are in jeopardy. Her investigations unearth more about this town than anyone ever suspected. It seems someone in the hollow will do anything to keep her from solving the murder. So, it's like, I would say these are like a cozy murder mystery series. These were always bookmarked, I saw on Goodreads, as like cottagecore. And I wouldn't say in the first one I felt like it was so cozy. I felt like I was still kind of, it was like an introduction to the characters, but I really liked the characters and felt like it had more of kind of like a cozy, if you want to call it, vibe to the second one. I didn't read the third one yet, but it's like the same group of characters each time. And at the beginning of these two novels, an animal is something happened to an animal that lives in the town. But it's usually an animal, but in both of these, it's an animal that you never met, so you don't really feel connected to it. So it's not like really gory or sad or like depressing, because the murder, it's kind of just like a whodunit, like like a mystery. They're pretty easy to solve too. But I just kind of like hanging out with the characters. Like it's like more of, to me, of like a character study of like a lighthearted mystery. If you're like me, I'll get nightmares from like real crime mysteries. I can't read horror, so I really enjoyed these. They're really sweet, in a sense, kind of for an adult book to do with talking animals. So I really, really, really recommend these if you like cottagecore-ish stuff. Okay, so now another DVD. This is The Secret World of Variety, based on the book The Borrowers. Now, The Borrowers, it takes place like mostly, if not, in a house. So it's not like, it's like the borrowers who live, these tiny little people, under the cupboards and stuff. So it's not like cottage, but to me there's something so cute about it, about the fact that they use all these tiny little things, like she's sitting on a little thread holder. Why can't I think of the name of that? She's sitting on this tiny little thread thing, and it's like, it's kind of cottagecore-y, it's just, the illustrations are even like that. But yeah, The Secret Life of, so this is all about these little people who borrow, called the borrowers, that live in someone's house. And they're so cute and tiny. And I don't know, it's kind of like, my interpretation of cottagecore is going to be different from everyone else. I believe it's just like a made up term, right? It's just like, yeah. I believe this is Studio Ghibli. The way I always like pronounce it wrong. But yeah, so this is, by them, presented by them. And so also I want to say that My Neighbor Totoro is very cottagecore. It's just beautiful. And some of their other films, you could make the case that could be. But yeah, so I love this movie. It's really beautiful, and I love how it's based on a book. And then I have this is Floriography. It's an illustrated guide to the Victorian language of flowers by Jessica Rue. So this is all about the meaning of flowers. So here's a poppy, eternal sleep. It tells you the origin, and it tells you to pair what you can pair it with. And so if you want to give somebody a bouquet and you want to be very literal, I thought this would be a fun way to, or if you want to draw flowers with different meanings. So I was inspired to buy this book after reading the book called The Language of Flowers. And that book is one of my favorite books, also about an orphan. And here's oleander, caution. Victorians assigned the meaning of caution to the oleander, perhaps because the plant is poisonous, but also because of its association with the Greek cautionary myth of Hero and Leander. The two were in love, although they lived on opposite sides of the Hellespont Sea. Leander swam across it every night to visit Hero. One night during a violent storm, Leander died trying to swim to his love in the rough waters. When Hero saw Leander's body wash ashore, she called out, "Oh, Leander," and drowned herself to be with him in death. So, it's literally the language of flowers. And I know some of these books, some people have different interpretations. But yeah. That was very cottagecore. Look at the cover page. And then the last two books I have real quick are picture books. This is Mr. Rabbit and the Lovely Present. This is beautiful by Charlotte Zoloto, and then pictures by Maurice Sendak. This is a very old vintage copy that we have. And it's all about this little girl who wants to get a present for her mother. And look at the illustrations. And it's just like so pretty. And she hangs out with a rabbit, talking rabbit. Look at that. So cute. It's very cottagecore. She has a little basket for her mom. So sweet. And then the other picture book I grabbed is The Right House for Rabbit. There's something about rabbits in cottagecore. Like, rabbits are just very cottagecore in illustrations. A lot of illustrations show rabbits. So this is just a cute little rabbit, you know, looking for a new home. Very cottagecore aesthetic. And then, yeah. I had some other picture books that probably could have fit, but I didn't want to include too many picture books. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys some books that I had that were cottagecore. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, liking, and especially subscribing. I really appreciate it. Bye.